In a state named Ascona, there lived a girl named Susie. She had a brother whose name was Stephen. They were very affectionate about each other. They used to live with their stepmom Shelley and her daughter Stella. The stepmother and sister, they used to trouble Susie in every possible way. Since Stella was not that good looking, Shelley used to treat Susie very badly. One day Shelley said to Susie, "Hey Susie, bring me some milk." "Okay mom, bringing in a while." Saying this, Susie brings milk for Shelley. Shelley was practicing some kind of magic when suddenly Susie calls her, "Mom, I've brought milk for you." "Put it there and get lost from here." "Okay." Saying this, Susie leaves and sits outside in the courtyard with an upset face. When suddenly her brother Stephen comes and asks Susie,
"What happened, Susie? Why are you upset?"
"Nothing, brother. Nothing happened."
"Don't hide from me. I know everything."
"Brother, why mom behaves like this? Like we are no one to her?"
Don't take her words to heart. I am here for you. Don't worry.
"I know you will be always there for me. That's why I'm not worried." Saying this, Susie gets back to her work. Days passed by like this, and their stepmom kept troubling them like that. She used to make Susie do all the household chores, while she and her daughter Stella used to relax all day long. Stephen was also bored working all day long. One day, Susie and Stephen planned to escape from there. At that very night, they ran away in the forest. After getting tired, they sleep under a tree. The next day at their home, "Susie, quickly bring me a cup of tea." After not getting any response, she calls out Susie once again, "Susie!" That's when she realizes there's no one in the house. So she goes to her room and with the help of a magical crystal ball, she tries to find out where Susie is. And she gets to know Susie and Stephen both are resting in the forest. Then she says, "Thank God they escaped and ran away in the forest. And I didn't have to kick them out. Now they will see how much fun it is." After saying this, Shelley applies her magic on the pond of that forest. If they drink this water, they will become animals. On the other side, when Susie and Stephen woke up, they saw they had reached enough far away in the forest, and now no one can find them. After walking for a while, Stephen felt thirsty, so he goes near a pond to drink water. When he tries to fetch the water with his hand, he hears a voice from the pond.
"Hey kid, if you drink the water from this pond, you will become animal."
"Brother, you won't drink water from this pond. I'm really scared." Listening to Susie's concern, Stephen says nothing and starts walking without drinking water. After walking for a while, Stephen says to Susie,
"If we get another pond on our way, I am going to drink water from that. I am really feeling thirsty."
"Okay, brother, no problem." Now, Stephen and Susie kept walking, but they couldn't find any pond near them. But then suddenly, Stephen hears a sound of water.
"I heard a sound of water. Let's go there and see."
"Yes, brother, let's go." Hearing the sound of water, both of them go near the river. Seeing the water, Stephen tries to fetch it with his hands so that he can drink it. That's when a voice comes from the river. "Wait, son. If you will drink water from this pond, you will turn into a wild animal." After hearing all this, Susie stops Stephen from drinking water from the river. But this time, Stephen doesn't listen to Susie and drinks water from that river. Stephen turns into a deer. He gets upset after seeing himself turn into a deer. Then Susie says, "Brother, I had told you not to drink water from this pond, but you didn't listen to me. Now don't go anywhere leaving me behind. There will be many scary animals in this forest. Don't put your life into danger." Hearing all this, the deer starts crying and hugs Susie. After walking for a while, Susie finds an old hut which had some regular livelihood necessities, but no one used to live there. Seeing this, Susie says to Stephen, "Brother, from now on we will stay here. There will be no better place for us to stay." Hearing this, the deer nods his head and tries to speak. That's when words come out from his mouth.
"Okay, sister."
Seeing the deer speak, Susie becomes very happy and she hugs him. After that, she cleans a blanket they found in there and they sleep on it. The next day, Susie and Stephen roam in the forest and bring some food to eat. Days passed by like this, and now Susie didn't use to take Stephen with her in the forest as it was risky for him, so she used to bring fresh grass for him in the house. One day, Stephen said to Susie,
Susie, since so many days I am in the house, I want to roam outside. Let me go.
Okay, brother, you can go. But try to come back soon.
Okay, Susie, but don't open the door till I come back. I will call out for your name thrice, then only open the door.
Okay, brother, I will open the door only when you will call out my name. But come soon, brother.
Okay, sister.
Saying this, Stephen starts running and goes into the forest. He was feeling refreshed going out after so many days. He was feeling great and his body was shining. Stephen was roaming here and there in the forest. And that very moment, the reigning prince, Prince Richard, was passing by the forest. He came there for hunting, but he couldn't find anything to hunt. After some time, he finds a deer. Seeing that deer, the prince followed it. But that's when the deer was returning back home. The prince sees the deer speaking something outside a hut.
Dear sister, open the door. Dear sister, open the door. Dear sister, open the door.
After saying like this thrice, Susie opens the door. That's when the prince notices a beautiful girl opening the door and goes inside along with the deer. He noticed everything hiding behind the tree and thinks in his mind,
The girl is so beautiful and amazing. I couldn't stop looking at her. But what is she doing with the deer?
After that, the prince leaves. And the next day he comes back and knocks on the door and talks like Stephen, just like he saw him doing. That's when Susie opens the door and notices a handsome prince standing right in front of her eyes. She couldn't stop looking at him. That's when the prince asks Susie,
Forgive me. Yesterday I saw you and that's why I want to talk to you. I am Prince Richard, the prince of this reign. I like you a lot.
What are you trying to say? I'm not getting anything, prince.
I want to marry you. Will you marry me?
Susie kept staring at the prince and shared her and Stephen's story with him. After listening to everything, the prince said,
That does not matter. Just tell me if you want to marry me or not.
Yes, Prince Richard, I'm ready to marry you. But I have to tell this to my brother.
Tell him, I have to go now. Come tomorrow as a royal guest in our reign. I will be waiting for you.
Saying this, the prince leaves. And Susie felt it all like a dream. When suddenly Stephen comes there and Susie tells him everything what happened. Brother, the prince of this reign came here today. He put forth a marriage proposal to me.
Really, Susie?
Yes, brother, and also he has invited us tomorrow.
Then tomorrow we will definitely go to his palace.
Saying this, the next day, Susie and Stephen go to the prince's kingdom. Seeing them, the prince welcomes and takes them to the palace. The next day, the prince gets married to Susie. Now, they started living very happy together in the palace. They were very happy with each other. One day, the stepmother Shelley tries to see where Susie and Stephen are through her magical crystal ball. That's when, in her crystal ball, she notices Susie is dressed like a princess and she's with a prince. And Stephen is grazing in the garden. Seeing all this, Shelley gets angry and breaks her crystal ball and leaves for the palace along with her daughter. When they reach into the palace, Shelley noticed that Princess Susie was resting in her suit. Then Shelley turns her daughter into Susie and makes Princess Susie unconscious with her magic. That's when her daughter Stella says, Mom, we won't get caught, right? No, my child. Now you will rule over this reign, understood? Okay, Mom. I will follow you. I will do as you say. Okay. I will leave this Susie into a dense forest. Till then, you wait here, okay? Okay, Mom. Saying this, Shelley takes Susie into dense forest. After leaving her in the dense forest, she comes back to the palace. On the other hand, when Stephen comes to his sister, Stella shouts at him,
Hey, what is this deer doing in my room? You get lost!
Saying this, she shoos the deer away from her room. Due to this, Stephen was confused why Susie is behaving like that to him.
Suddenly, what happened to Susie? Why did she deny to recognize me?
Thinking about all that, he comes to the garden. But he wasn't feeling right. So he goes back to meet his sister again. When he noticed that his stepmom was in the room, Stephen tries to hear their conversation from outside the room. Stella, I have left Susie in a dense forest. Now she will never come back and you will rule over this reign forever.
Yes, Mom, you're right. I feel great ever since we have arrived here.
Come on, now you have to get ready to talk to the prince.
Okay, Mom.
Stephen was listening to all this from outside the room. Hearing all that, tears come into his eyes and he starts walking towards the forest. He tries to find Susie in the forest but couldn't find her. Instead, he met a saint in the forest. He was meditating under a tree. Stephen says,
Please help me. I need your help.
How can I help you? What kind of help do you need from me?
My sister is lost in this forest. I want to meet her. Will you help me in finding her?
The saint closes his eyes and meditates. He says in a while,
You will find your sister in this direction. You will meet her soon. And your stepmother is the one who turned you into a deer.
Hearing that, Stephen goes silent. He says to Saint,
How can we escape from this trouble?
Take this miraculous water. Whenever you splash this on your stepmother, all her magical powers will go away. Now go in this direction and take the princess back.
Saying that, the saint ties the bottle of water around his neck.
Okay, thank you so much.
After saying so, Stephen goes into the direction that the saint had told him. And after walking for a while, he notices Susie sitting under a tree. That's when Stephen to Susie,
Are you okay, my sister?
Yes, brother. How did you come here finding me? Our stepmother and Stella had come to the palace and they left me here in the effect of magic tricks on me.
I know everything. Susie, let's go back to palace.
Okay, let's go, brother. But what's that on your neck?
A saint has given this to me. With this, we can destroy all the magical powers of our stepmother. And once again, I can become a human being. You keep this with you. We will use this when the right time comes.
On the other side, the prince goes into the princess's room and notices that the princess is sleeping. That's when the prince inquires to the princess's maid,
What happened to the princess? Why is she sleeping?
She was not feeling well, that's why she is resting. Whenever she wakes up, I will let you know.
Let her rest.
Saying that, the prince leaves the room. On the other hand, Shelley, who took the form of maid, comes back to her own self. I had told you, these people are very clever. Now we have to be precautious and our drama won't last for long. I have to find another way.
Yes, Mom, you are right. I was also thinking about the same thing.
I think I have to find some solution to this problem very soon. After saying this, Shelley leaves. And on the other side, Stephen and Susie come to the palace. Princess Susie dressed like her maid so that no one could recognize her. After some time, Stephen and Susie go to the prince's room, hiding from everyone. The prince was looking out from his window. That's when Susie calls out the prince. Your Highness, I'm back. Hearing her voice, the prince looks at her, but he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He sees the princess dressed like a normal maid. He asks,
What are you doing in these clothes?
Your Highness, you did recognize me. My stepmother came to this palace and after doing some magic tricks on me, she sent me into the forest and they are living here. Hearing all this, the prince gets very angry and calls his royal guards.
Call all the royal guards right now.
After getting the prince's order, all the royal guards gather in the court. That's when the prince, along with princess, comes to the palace. Reaching into the palace, he orders the royal guards to call the fake princess and her maid. After some time, the fake princess and her mother comes to the court and notices Princess Susie standing beside the prince. They become furious. and they turn into their real self.
Put them into the dungeon right now. They tried to kill the princess.
You think you can put me in dungeon? No one can ever catch me, and I will take revenge from this princess. Saying this, Shelley tries her spells of magic tricks on Princess Susie. That's when Susie splashes the miraculous water given by the saint on Shelley. And with the help of the miraculous water, Shelley's magic trick stops working. Seeing all this, Shelley becomes very furious and couldn't control herself. She was not understanding what to do now. That's when the royal guards put Shelley and Stella into the dungeon. Seeing this, the prince and the princess become very happy. And with the help of the miraculous water, Shelley's magical powers get destroyed. And along with that, Stephen also becomes human once again. After all this happened, everybody becomes very happy. And they all live very happily. So, this story teaches us that we should always do good deeds in our life. And we should not do anything wrong to anyone. Bad deeds bring bad to you. As it is said, as you will sow, so shall you reap.